What's going on, everybody? Back and better than ever for another week of St. Pius 10th football with Greg Cranfill and a successful trip to the Alamo City, San Antonio, Texas. St. Pius goes in there, wins big against San Antonio Christian. And kind of the last few years been kind of rough, the road trip to San Antonio for some Pius sports here and there. So good to get a win in the Alamo City. When you go, you don't get any time to enjoy the city though, right? It's just their game and get back, right? You're not you weren't on the Riverwalk or anything after celebrating.
Not on trips like these for sure. Obviously if you take an overnight trip, you may schedule in something fun, but this is pure work for us. It's follow a schedule, get where we need to be, eat when we need to be, and try to get our minds ready to go. And you're exactly right. I mean, that San Antonio trip hasn't been very favorable for us. So it's a matter of trying to find a balance of how to prepare those kids that way when you do travel 3.5, 4 hours on a bus, that you're ready to go. And I know you probably saw TAP's realignment just came out. Our baseball teams, our basketball teams, and softball, all of those guys are now having to travel to San Antonio next year. So it's really important, for those trips that we find a workable scenario as far as traveling and getting our kids ready to go. So it was a big win for us, no doubt.
Yeah, I hadn't gotten a chance to see the TAPS realignment, so you wanted to divulge a little. Does that affect football at all? Or what do y'all look like going into the 22 season?
We'll keep St. Thomas. We'll keep we'll keep Concordia Lutheran, and then we've picked up the Village, and then we've got San Antonio Central Catholic and San Antonio Antonian in our district for next year. So we end up losing St. John the 23rd, and we end up losing San Antonio Christian, and replace that with one. So. It is what it is. There's some pretty tough teams in there, but nothing that we're not accustomed to playing, especially at our level in TAPS. So we're excited about the opportunities.
And, of course, this you finished with another road game this week. And we'll get back to the San Antonio Christian game here in a minute with the news of the week. You finished with a road game at Kelly Catholic. To finish the year with back-to-back road games, do you like that? Because essentially you're used to this. Because when the playoffs come around, unless you have a home playoff game, you're going to be going on the road for that first playoff game. And now you've gotten 2 back-to-back weeks of this the routine, road trip, all that stuff. Because it's different going on the road than playing at home.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's a matter of just what mindset we put on, whether it be a road trip or a home game. And you're exactly right. It's not week one. These kids have been doing this for a couple of weeks now. They know the expectation. They know exactly where to be, when to be there. And I think we're ready to go, and it's just a matter of where they tell us to play, and we're going to come up ready to go. And that's what hopefully our football team does on Friday.
Well, let's get back to San Antonio Christian. Big win for y'all on the road. I think 56-7 was the final score. Burke Badenfield, you had Raising Cane's Caniac co-offensive players of the week. Burke Badenfield, 18 carries for 273 yards, 4 touchdowns, 15.2 yards per carry in that win. And then Josh Mitchell, the other one, 8 carries for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, 15.8 yards per carry. Let's just Burke Badenfield. My goodness. This young man, getting to see him in person, I'm like, yeah, this guy, he's kind of like, he's a bit of a dog. He plays on defense. He's in there pounding them. He's on offense. He's rumbling in there. For you to see a guy have such a big game like this, what's it like to watch Burke play?
It's funny because I think that Burke would be the first to tell you that it's been a huge learning curve for him to jump in that running back position. And at this point in our season right now, Burke's probably playing the best football that he has all year. And that's all you want out of everybody on your whole football team. There are things that you've got to consider and understand that are helping Burke do that. Outstanding play by our offensive line. We moved a guy, Aiden Allen, into our H-back position, who has paid tremendous dividends. Aiden graded out as as 91% on offense and 92% as defensive end, with a couple of tackles and a couple sacks. But he's playing some of his best football, and just the fact that we've got 2 outside linebackers now that have picked their game up, so that Burke doesn't have to be on the field every snap, and that's Travis Pesic and Logan Landry. And also we moved a guy, Pierce Hayes, down to an outside linebacker position as well. So there's a lot of moving and a lot of shaking going around that all contribute to Burke's success. There's no doubt Burke is a tremendous athlete, but I think he would tell you going into a game fresh and ready to run full speed helps tremendously. He's gotten better at his reads, and just trusting the fact that patience is a virtue when it comes to running the football. I think the misconception is that a lot of running backs or anybody, when you get the ball, you just run as fast as you can. And a lot of times we would tell them running as fast as you can into a brick wall is not as advantageous as slowing down and opening a door to walk through it. And like we've said the last couple of weeks, our offensive line is playing absolutely some of the best football that we've had in a long, long time, not just here at St. Pius, but for me collectively in all my years. And I think that just contributes to where we're going. These guys are not done. They're ready to see what obstacles in front of them, and then we're going to attack it each day. So pretty excited about them.
Yeah, so you mentioned Burke Badenfield, and then we talked a little bit about Josh Mitchell. Got to see him a little bit 2 weeks ago. Pretty excited about, or last week, pretty excited about him. Good little running back for you. He had a big game as well. Talk about him and just how you've implemented him into the offense.
Yeah, Josh started out this year as the JV running back, and like we've always said, and we try to convince these kids, and the only way to do it is by showing them exactly how we manage our JV. The way we look at it, our JV is much like a AAA baseball team, in the fact that you're down there getting reps, and at any moment something happens on the varsity, your number is going to be called, and you better be ready to step up, or we're hoping that you're ready to step up and take the call. We've done that with Josh Mitchell. We've done that with Justice Prince, who's now starting for us at corner, and just real excited about that opportunity. And instead of going up on Friday nights and sitting on the bench, we would rather them get reps on Thursday nights so that when the transition happens and we call their number, they're ready to go. And I think both Josh and Justice Prince have proven that it works out that way, So happy with him. Another great run per carry for Josh. I think he averaged over 15 yards per carry. It was the first time in my 25 years career that we graded out over 95 on run efficiency. And run efficiency is every carry has to be 4 yards, a first down, or a touchdown. And out of the 40-something carries that we had, I think we were 43 or 42 of 44. So we're pretty excited about the way that everything tied in together there. So.
And then defensively, no surprise here, the Raising Cane's Caniac Defensive Player of the Week. Carson Hens, 13 total tackles, 9 solo, 4 assists, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 big hits. And by the quick math I just did over on a little pad of paper here, that puts him just 5 tackles away from the all-time tackle record, career record at St. Pius X going into this week, which, coached by the average, by next week, while we talk, Carson Hens will be the all-time tackle leader in Panther history. We talked about this a few weeks ago. For him to be so close now, I mean, do you recognize – how do you approach that? How do you approach as he gets closer to this record?
Yeah, here's a little I feel like we tell stories about Carson all the time, but that's what this is. I want to tell stories about as many different kids as we possibly can. But Carson was more excited that he graded out in the 90s than he was with the total tackles, the sack, and the big hits. And that, to me, is a sign you're doing something right when the first thing that they look at is their grade. Because yardage happens, touchdown receptions happen, tackles happen throughout the course of the game. But are you going out there and putting a good resume together? And I told Carson's one of the best games that we've had from a Mike linebacker in a very, very long time. And I think he had more pride in that than the total tackles, because he understands the tackles will take care of themselves as long as he's doing his job. And I think there's no doubt that that's a guy that does his job. And not only does he do his job, he's helping to get that defense lined up where we need them, and just having everybody on full tilt ready to go. We switched a little last week from a 3-down look to a 4-down look, and the guys picked it up perfectly. And like I said, we had great play out of our defensive line. Jose Rivera, Hayden Lawrence, Aiden Allen, and Dylan Edwards all played pretty darn good up front. And collectively we played a pretty solid game defensively.
So as we move on here, your last two players of the week, special teams player of the week, Tanner Hansen, he goes 7 of 7 on extra points, and scout team player of the week, Alex Velasquez. I mean, not bad to have a kicker go 7 for 7 on his extra points in a game.
No, and possibly could have been 8 for 8, but I tried to go for 2 when they jumped off sides. But he's done an outstanding job. We talked about Tanner week in and week out, and just how much pride he has in going out and doing, what he's supposed to do. And he wants to perform well for his team. And that tells me everything I need to know about the character of a player when they want to do well for their team. And Tanner definitely does that. Alex is a kid that did not play football at all last year, but asked me in the offseason if it would be all right. And I told him absolutely. And he's done nothing this year but just exceed every expectation that we had on him, and looking for great things out of him. He's a multi-sport athlete for us, plays baseball as well, and just one of the genuinely best kids that you just want to be around. And I think all the coaches see how important that is to doing what we do here at St. Pius.
So as we continue here on the St. Pius 10 football show with Greg Cranfill, of course we air every week here at noon on Wednesdays. And Coach, you go into the last week here of the regular season. What do you want to see the most out of your team this week? I mean, is it just – I know you want to see a super clean game, but are there certain things that you just want to fine-tune just a little bit more before that playoff game next week?
Absolutely. I challenged our football team to put pressure on each other, if that makes sense. Our perimeter blocking with our wide receivers has got to drastically improve. Because like we said, we are doing the things that we're doing up front, but we've got to show some pride on our perimeter blocking. And the guys, when they're running routes, they're catching balls, that's all great. But to be a complete player, we've got to get better at our perimeter blocking. And I think that we're relentlessly running to the football on defense, but I challenge them that you got one more gear. And some of you don't even know you have it. But I want you to find that gear on defense and then play your best football game on Friday night. And that's exactly what it's got to be, And you're right. The cliche, we want to play a clean game, blah, blah. Correct. So does everybody else. But I want guys that are willing to, as we say in our locker room, throw a punch. And I don't mean literally. I'm just saying when it's time for you to engage and make a block 15 yards down the field, or to make a tackle that's going to stop someone from gaining yard, I want you to have that extra amount in your heart that says, I'm doing this for the team, and to go ahead and do it. Because everything in your body and your mind may tell you, it's not as important as you think it is. But if you're playing through that heart and just understand the importance of what you do for that team, then you're going to do that. And I still think we have room to grow in that aspect. And I think these guys are accepting that challenge as well.
Well, their challenge this week will be Beaumont Kelly on the road, 2 road games to close out the regular season. Then playoffs will begin next week in the state of Texas. We all know about playoff football. It's time to get the playoff shirts out and all that stuff. And
yeah.
And we can address this a little bit next week, but just as you go into this last week, I know you never look too far ahead, but
sure.
As a coach, like, at what point this weekend do you flip from regular season to postseason to playoff football mode? I mean, does it happen like Friday night at midnight, and that moment right there, it's poof, it's playoff time?
Yeah, and that's exactly when it'll happen, because Friday night we'll get the video uploaded, and on the bus ride home, we usually start grading Friday night's game, so our focus is still there. And then at that point, then we turn it over, and then and our mindset is what do we need to do based on what we just saw to improve, so that way we're ready and playing our best football on that next week. And so I would say it starts probably right around midnight, after that Friday night football game. Here's the thing. We want to embrace and we want to celebrate victories because it is important. We don't want it to be where we can't have some fun doing what we do, because this is still a game, and we still want these kids to enjoy it. So they get all night Friday night, all day Saturday, and then probably Saturday afternoon we'll start sharing the video with them, because we want them to enjoy just the opportunity that they've been given, but also understand that we've got to do the things that we need to do day in and day out, so that we can turn this thing around.
All right, well, St. Pius X will go finish out the regular season this week, and come 12:01 Saturday morning, Greg Cranfill will be on an iPad or laptop or whatever it may be, burning that midnight oil, drinking the coffee. I mean, you're stocked up, right? You got all your like K-cups, all the Keurig cups ready to go.
Right. Usually at 12:01 is when also we get back and we start our first load of laundry. So it all ties in together, So everybody wants to be a coach and have no idea that I'm in there doing laundry at 12:30, at night, and have like 9 loads to do. But it's all for the good, because of the fact that just to see those kids smile and to see those kids respond once they know they put in a good hard week's worth of work, and then go out there and then perform on Friday night makes it all worthwhile. So.
Well, I'm sure you're stocked up for those. Are y'all wearing white jerseys on Friday night, or the black jerseys?
No, man, we're white on white on the road.
Oh, white on white. So you got the extra bleach pen out for Friday night.
That's exactly right.
I'm on the Tide pens this week.
Either that or a purchase order to order some new pants. So whatever we got to do. So
whatever they got to do. Well, hey, he's Coach Cranfill of the St. Pius X Panthers. Every single Wednesday here on VYPE at noon, you catch the St. Pius X football show with Coach Cranfill. Coach, best of luck this week, and we will talk to you next week heading into the 2021 playoffs.
Go Panthers.